Located on 225 acres in Garden City, Long Island, Nassau Community College, a member of the State University of New York system, has close to 20,000 students attend the school each year. The college mascot is Leo the Lion, and these are his stories of the school's absolute best and brightest who have graduated over the past 50 plus years. So let's catch up together as the Alumni Association of Nassau Community College proudly presents Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Lion Tales. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I am a director on the board of the Alumni Association at Nassau Community College and a proud graduate. I am here to celebrate the successes of our alum, and together we will share stories that will uplift, inspire, and often amuse you. Each week, I will introduce you to the alumni of Nassau Community College interested in sharing their experiences while attending the college and the secrets to their success. Look for many new and exciting events on the Alumni Association social media pages and share any exciting news with us on Facebook, Instagram, or on our webpage at ncc.edu/alumni. Or find me on X at Dr. Lynnda Nadien. Did you know Leo the Lion is the mascot for Nassau Community College? Lions are ruled by Leo and fire. The male lions represent pride, while the female stands for teamwork. Together, we are Lion Tales. Today, I would like to welcome to Lion Tales Rita Monte, class of 1999. Rita Monte is a college radio personality currently hosting Profumi D'Italia on 90.3 WHPC. Bringing music, poetry, and interviews into our homes, celebrating and highlighting Italian culture. Rita is a proud alum and has taught Italian at Meadow School in Baldwin and does private tutoring. Rita is very active in the Italian-American community and serves as the vice president of the Italian-American Women's Center of Manhasset, a cultural group that helps promote the language and the Italian culture. Rita is an advocate, a cook, a poet, a writer, and a beloved mother and spouse. She loves going to the beach and swimming. Rita has created her own line of jewelry named Rainbow Creations One-of-a-Kind Jewelry by Rita. Rita loves to read and write, and she will be celebrating 28 years at 90.3 WHPC. And we welcome to Lion Tales Rita Monte, class of 1999.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
you so much.
Here.
It's very strange being on the other side of the mic.
Yeah. So now tell us about your experience, arriving to America as a young child, because people want to know about that.
Yes. I was almost 13. I turned 13 in the United States. We actually came by ship. We came on a cruise ship, which was a beautiful ship called the Raphael. It was a great voyage traveling to New York. And when I came to America, I did not know a word of English. I still don't. No, I'm kidding. I'm still learning, like all of us still learning. Yeah. So that was very hard for a 12-year-old, 13-year-old being uprooted, I say, from your country and coming to another country not knowing the language. I think that was the biggest hurdle.
What did your family say to you? Why did they say that, we're getting on the ship and coming to America?
We're coming to America because most of my mom's family was here in the United States. They were born in the United States and then went back to Italy. And then they decided to come back to their home. Yeah. And we were the only people, the only family that was left back in Italy. So my father came for a better opportunity as well for us. Yeah,
absolutely. So initially, as a 13-year-old, what was your school experience like before you even got to Nassau?
It was so hard because I went to a school where there were no Italians at the time. We did not live in Brooklyn because the majority of the Italians, when they came, they lived in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. And we settled in Cedarhurst, Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Which was predominantly a Jewish neighborhood at the time. So I had to learn English quickly. Yeah. In order to assimilate. In order to be able to speak and have friends. Yeah. So that was very hard. But the funny thing is, my sister and I would tell my mom, we don't speak English. We cannot learn, so we have to go back to Italy. Yeah. So one day, I was talking to some friends, and I didn't know. My mom overheard. She said, Rita, Rose, come over here. we're staying here in America because I heard you speak English. You speak English, and we're not going anywhere. We're staying.
Okay, good. So you stayed. So now going through middle school and high school, and then you end up at some point at Nassau Community College. So how was that?
I always loved learning. I always, my mom was devastated when I told her I was not going to go to college at the time because I decided to get married at 21 years old. She was devastated because she was very big on education.
Yeah.
My sister ended up going to college. She got scholarships and she became a teacher at Princeton University.
Wow.
For 10 years, she taught Italian and Spanish at Princeton. She currently lives in New Jersey. So she was very upset that I didn't go to college. Then I married. I had my son. And in the meantime, I still taught at the elementary school at Baldwin.
Yeah.
So I was very active in the school. And when my son got a little bit older, I said, really, I want to go back to school.
Yeah.
Because I always loved to read and I loved to learn. So I enrolled and I took a couple of classes just for fun at Nassau Community College. And then I just absolutely loved it. I loved it and I enrolled. The 2-year school took me 4 years because of my son. I used to pick him up from school, and it was religion, sports, and I graduated from Nassau Community College, and I had actually enrolled at Adelphi for a 3-year social worker degree.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I was going to do. Because I had all the credits. I had all my 68, I think, plus credits, life's experience. I had enrolled, but unfortunately, that year I got sick.
Yeah.
I took ill. So I took a year off, and then I never went back. And I had to finish my master's. Really, I wanted to get my master's in social work. I loved the whole psychology field.
Yeah. And now, what were some of your favorite courses here or the professors that inspired you at the time?
I loved English, believe it or not. I had a teacher, Dr. Tana, T-A-N-A, and she really inspired me really to write poetry.
Wow.
I got to say.
Yeah.
She was an English teacher at the time, and she was, I still remember her name. And
Yeah.
she was just great. But I have to tell you a funny story because when I went to Nassau, my fear was that my English was not good enough. So I used to go to extra help all the time. I used to go to the library. In the summer, I took some classes. And one day there was a teacher. She came over to me. She said, "Why are you here every day?" I said, "Because English is not my first language. I'm conscious of it." So she said to me, "Okay." She said, she hands me the New York Times. She said, "Read this passage." So I read it, a few sentences. She said to me, "What does it say?" And I explained to her what it said. So she said to me, let me just say something to you. Your English is very good. She said, if you want to stay in the library because it's 98 degrees outside and it's cool in here, if that's what you want to do, fine. She said, but your English is better than most Americans that I know.
Great. Yeah.
So my average was 4.0 in English. To my surprise. And that was my biggest thing. I think that's the reason I never really went to college, because I was subconsciously, I thought that I would never pass because English was not my first language.
Right.
And I was wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, it's people. You do feel that stigma carrying it with you because you are a dual language person. But then at the same time, your brain learns how to do the Italian and the English,
exactly.
and it just comes together at some point.
Yes.
And so it's amazing to know that the professors were an inspiration and that they actually gave you they noticed that, you were there and you were trying your best too.
Yes.
So describe your work in fundraising and the advocacy of the Italian culture.
I am the vice president of the Italian American Women's Center, which I volunteer as well for at least 25 years. It is a women's cultural group. We have different events. We have a book club that we run, and we read Italian authors, but the books are in English because the majority of the ladies were born in this country. So it's more of an Italian-American association. And we have read some books that were translated from Italian into English and vice versa. And we have a book club every other month. We meet for breakfast and we discuss the book. And also we have different festivities, I want to call it, because the 8th of March is Festa della Donna, Women International Day. In America, is Women International Month is celebrated the whole month, but a lot of people do not know that the 8th of March is Women International Day because of the shirtwaist fire.
Oh, okay, right, because we're going to talk about your acting experiences as well.
So,
you are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Rita Monte, class of 1999. So we're going to talk about now your advocacy for the organization, but also your acting experiences that relate to this. So explain that.
That was just crazy because I got a phone call. We have this Festa della Donna, Women International Day, every year. So a friend of mine called me and he says, listen, there's a lady, Lisa Tuvallo, she's a young cinematographer. She's doing a documentary on the shirtwaist fire, and it's called Behind Closed Doors. No, The Locked Doors, I'm sorry. They're looking for an extra for the film to play an Italian seamstress. And I said, I'm not an actress. I can act. Leave me alone. So she says, Dino, my friend Dino. He said, just come for the tryout. I said, okay, I'll humor you, but I'm not doing this. So I went to the city on this cold, rainy night, and I got the part. And all of a sudden, she said to me, can you just say something in Italian, but in English? So I had to play the part of a seamstress that was stuck in the elevator during the fire.
Oh, okay.
And what I had to do is throw my boss out, really, because he was kind of an abuser in a way. So that's what I had to do. So I had to reenact this thing. And she made me say a few words. She goes, perfect. Come for makeup tomorrow. And I said, no, you don't understand. I'm only here for fun. I'm not doing this. I don't know. I just got into it, and I did the film, which was a great experience. I must tell you, it was really, really important. It was an important part. So I played this girl, Alessandra was her name. And I also gave the producer a few tips. Because she is Greek, and I said to her, I know you're giving me a name, Alessandra, but Alessandra is a very modern name. You're talking about 1913, and most of the immigrants that came from Italy, they were Maria, Lucia, Carmela. So I said, you need to give me a southern, because most of them came from the south. Alessandra was more of a northern Italian name. She goes, oh wow, great. So I was Lucia. I picked the name Lucia for the film, and it worked out great.
Now,
really
would we be able to see the film?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you watch
that?
So
it's called, you can just Google Behind the Locked Door, The Shirtwaist Fire by Lisa Tuvallo.
Wow, that's really amazing.
In black and white, of course.
Oh, because it's well, that was the Chicago fire where all of
New York
fire.
The New York, the Ash Building, which every year they have a memorial now.
We used to learn about that in school all the time. That was something that, we knew about. Which I don't know. I remember it being in the textbook. I can almost see the textbook opening with the pictures.
145 women,
especially
women, died on that fire. And half of them were Italian, the other half they were Jewish, basically, and some children. Because I didn't realize, I learned so much from this film. The kids used to work, and then when the inspectors came, they would hide them underneath the machines, the sewing machines.
Yeah.
So some of these kids were,
I mean, that probably still goes on today in some parts of the world.
Sweat factory,
having little kids, under 10.
Yes.
So tell us about your jewelry line, which is, something that you've been developing, lately.
I started creating earrings. I do mostly earrings, some bracelets, and also necklaces, but it's one of a kind.
Yeah.
So no two are alike.
Uh-huh.
I actually went into a store one day, and this lady said to me, I'm not going to mention which store. She said, I love your earrings. They're beautiful. I said, I make them. She said, why don't you make like 30 pairs and bring them in? So I said, no, because my earrings are one-of-a-kind jewelry.
Uh-huh.
So nobody has the same earrings. So it's a unique kind of a jewelry.
So that's good. Does someone put an order in for something that they like, and
Yes.
then you just create
I have
that?
a website. It's Rainbow Creations, One-of-a-Kind Jewelry by Rita.
Oh, okay.
Someone-
And how are people responding to it?
Great.
Yeah.
Really great. I do also some street fairs, or I do parties, with friends before the holidays, and I sell them that way. And during COVID, I was busy making a lot of earrings.
Oh, yeah. No, that's great because people didn't have, that's what you were ordering things online that you probably wouldn't even have had a chance to look at.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
like something that's really amazing.
Yes.
So now you're doing a lot because you're balancing your work and your play and you're still studying. How do you do all of that?
Whatever I do, I try to laugh a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Even though sometimes things are very intense, I try to enjoy what I do. I have to love what I do, and when I commit 100%. And I find that the balance sometimes is a little bit hard, but I still dedicate it to my family.
Yeah.
I had a mom that I used to take care of,
Yeah.
that she wasn't well, so I have my priorities
Right.
in
Yeah.
place.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to, it's hard,
Yeah.
working, it's hard to balance everything. But I love the radio station. I love doing the jewelry. To me, that's just fun. you
Yeah.
know.
And it's funny, we were talking about how some of the things that you do that are volunteer work give you the most satisfaction, more so than something being
Yes.
paid.
Yes.
And how have you found that over the years? I mean, you've been at the radio station now for 28 years. But
Almost 28 years.
Yeah.
I can't believe when I say that. I tell some of the students here,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll ask me, how long you been at WHPC? And I say almost 28 years. And they look at me, I wasn't even born yet. They
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
So that's very strange, to almost 28 years.
Yeah. What do you love about being at the station? And also because you have a show which highlights, the culture, which is a very
Yes.
important part of who you
Yes.
are.
So my show is live.
Yes.
So it's dedications and requests.
Yeah.
So I am in touch with the people constantly. It's not a recorded show. So, and over the years, I found that some of my listeners have become my family.
Yeah.
They'll call me. They'll tell me all the problems. I'm the Frasier of WHPC,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe because I did study psychology, or I just do not know why. But I always say on Thursday when I start my radio show, I say, this is your Thursday radio show.
Yeah.
It's not my Thursday radio show. I am comfortable behind the microphone.
Yeah.
Even on my Facebook page, you don't see my face.
Uh-huh.
It's covered with the WHPC logo, which is fine. I am okay being behind the microphone as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's important, I think. You cannot always be in your face. And I try to sit back whenever I can. I listen. If a listener calls me up and tells me, I had a really bad day. So I'll put a cheery song, or I'll do a quote from a famous person just to cheer them up.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorite Italian Americans? We were talking about music, but I mean, if you go to Italy, I'm sure there's so much music that we probably never, that I've never heard and that the majority probably have not heard.
I have gotten to love Sergio Franchi.
Ah, okay.
And I did not know who Sergio Franchi was.
Mm-hmm.
So one day there was a listener, American, not even Italian, Roma Marx, German. She came down to the station and brought some records of Sergio Franchi.
Uh-huh.
She said to me, here's some records. And I panicked because I said, I don't know what the record player is.
Uh-huh. We do have one, though.
Yeah. So then I forgot who it was. My engineer said, just lift the top and we
Yeah.
have. So I started playing this amazing Sergio Franchi that I never knew who he was. What a voice. What a
Yeah.
tenor.
Yeah.
So that was the Italian-American singer. Then I thought about it over the years. I said, O Sole Mio and the music like that, Volare is beautiful.
Yeah.
But we also need to play the young people's music.
Yeah.
Because we don't want that culture to stop right there with Volare, with O Sole Mio. So I have a lot of young listeners at Profumi D'Italia radio show because they like the new music. They like, I mentioned before to you, Manhasset.
Yeah.
Manhasset is an Italian group.
Yeah.
And a lot of young students, here at the radio, they don't know who that they were Italian because they sing in English. They sing Italian, they sing in English. So I also like to, I don't want to say teach the people, but teach.
Yeah, but you educate them about.
Educate them,
there's
that's
so
the word.
much music that
Right,
it's on, just in, and that's in one, genre of music, Italian music. And then you can't believe how much there is that you could learn.
Not just the stereotypical. I try to get away from the stereotypical tarantella, I play it. I mean, I play classical music.
Yeah.
I play Andrea Bocelli, and all Pavarotti, and all Placido Domingo as well, too. But I try to play the young music to attract the young crowd, to keep the culture going.
Mm-hmm. You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Rita Monte, class of 1999. So we're talking about Italian music, but our approach now to teaching young children Italian, just so that they can become more fluent speakers. But why do you think it's important to promote Italian values and culture?
It's very important because you have to know where you came from in order to understand where you're going.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, for example, my son is 33 years old and he speaks Italian. He wants to watch me cook and learn how to make a certain recipe, how to make sauce, how to make things like that. So, and I think it's very important because during COVID, I'm going to tell you a short story. I always think that my son doesn't listen to me or my mother. And so my mom used to always tell him stories about during the war and how they struggled, how they had no food and what they had to do to survive. So my son got COVID. So he stayed with his girlfriend because he didn't want us to get it. And when he came one day and he said, Mom, you know what I was just thinking? I was thinking about Grandma talking about values. And I said, why? He said, you know what? We just went out and spent $600 on food, toilet paper, whatever. He said, I was thinking about Grandma during the war. They had nothing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they survived.
Yeah.
So he reflected on this, which, like I said, sometimes I didn't think he was listening, but he was.
Yeah.
So if you instill in your kids those values, just when you think they're not listening,
right,
later on they appreciate them and they practice them.
Yeah. I noticed my son's 23 and he does ask questions about, his grandparents and, the heritage and,
it's important.
Who was a musician and who was a singer. And, both my grandparents, one was, my grandmother's from Sicily and my grandfather was from, Palermo, and they came here. And, they only spoke Italian in the house. And my mother was in a household that was only Italian.
Yeah.
But then she didn't teach us to speak, but they spoke so well.
They did.
And I wish that I could speak.
In those days, it was not the word cool, really.
It wasn't cool.
To be a foreigner.
Yeah, they didn't want anybody to know. So
and they wanted you to be educated.
Yeah.
So they felt that, that you should really know English and you became educated.
Yeah.
But now I think it's a little more, it's different.
Yeah.
It's cool to be Italian. We have so many wannabe Italian, right?
Yeah, the wannabe. We want to be able to, especially speaking the language. Like, what would you say to someone who wants to learn Italian now? Is it too late?
No, never.
No, yeah.
Never.
What strategies would you use to help someone?
It's funny. I have a professor from Stony Brook. The family never spoke Italian to him. So I was tutoring him, and he was having a hard time because he was a Spanish professor. And I said to him one day, I said, Frank, let me ask you a question. He says, why am I having such a hard time? Why? You know what I realized? He did not know the Italian alphabet. Because he spoke a little bit of Italian. He spoke the dialect. So I said to him one day, E in Italian is E, the letter E, okay, which is hard because E, it's E. So I said to him one day, so I wrote the alphabet, and I said, read that. He says, you know what, I just realized that I don't know the Italian alphabet. So once you know the alphabet, you can learn Italian easily because it's all phonetic. E is always E. It's not like English, it's I, or A is A, always. You don't change that. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the tips, rules that simple. It's so simple. The alphabet, it was so simple.
That's so interesting because, again, that's how you would teach little children how to read.
Yeah.
Beginning with
From
the letters.
Beginning, yes. Yeah. Yes.
So your future goals now, you're sharing the Italian culture with the world, but your goals as far as an author and a poet and the jewelry line, how do you see yourself moving forward now?
Right now, writing poetry has become my world.
Yeah.
Really, the poetry, I found this amazing poetry community in Long Island. It is just incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. So I call them my new family. That's my new family.
Uh-huh.
Because I started writing poetry when I was 12. When I came to America, I wrote my first poem. And it was called Italy, of course, because I was so lonely that I wrote this poem, and it was kind of like Italy, land of my youth. Where are you? In a strange world I am, because I wrote it in Italian. I'm going to try to translate. Where are you, my beautiful sky? I'd like to come to you, for I am alone. I love you, my beautiful Italy. I love you with all my heart, and one day I shall come back to you. Something like that.
Uh-huh.
So that was my first poem, 12 years old, almost 13 when I came.
And then are you keep everything in a journal? Are you archiving things?
I write.
Yeah.
I like my paper and pen.
Me too, yeah.
I go to the park or the beach.
Yeah.
I write, and then I go home and I put it in the computer.
Yeah.
I correct it on the computer, of course, and I print all my poetry. I have it in a binder. Because if that computer is going to crash one day, no matter how much you have saved it,
everything.
Back it up. But I have a copy of written and also typed.
You were listening to Lion Tales on the Voice of Nassau Community College. I would like to thank our guest today, Rita Monte, class of 1999. How can our listeners contact you?
So my email address is ritamonte17@hotmail.com. Also, you can find me on Instagram, my Instagram page, which is my Instagram page is Profumi D'Italia, which is my radio show. And on Facebook, Rita M. Monte. Make sure you put the M, otherwise you're going to get this brain surgeon from Rome. True, for real.
Thank you for being here today, Rita Monte. I would like to thank you for being our guest. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I serve as a director on the board of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association, and I am a proud alum. Lion Tales is available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. More information is online at nccradio.org. Thanks for listening to Lion Tales on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.